What's up, millennials? Ethereum has been soaring for the last couple of weeks and it seems like there's no way to stop it. Today we're going to check out some fundamentals and then we're going to take a look at technical analysis to determine if we are going to see a top relatively soon. Let's do it! Ethereum has gone up a lot in the last couple of weeks versus Bitcoin especially. Bitcoin has gone relatively stable, a little bit sideways, but Ethereum has gone up a lot. And I can remember still when Ethereum was like 4 times as cheap compared to the market cap of Bitcoin, but right now it is only about 2.5 times as cheap, or even a little bit less than that. So that is pretty incredible to see. Just a quick side note, by the way, because today I was looking at coinmarketcap.com, which is where you can find these market caps of these cryptocurrencies, and I was noticing something different, which is an internet computer protocol or something like that. I have never heard about it, but yeah, it does already have a market cap of 48 billion. I'm not entirely sure how this ended up in this chart, but maybe if you know more about it, let me know in the comments. Just a few days ago, Van Eck applied for an Ethereum ETF too, which is going to be very exciting to see. So now the SEC is going to look at this application to see if this is justified or not. Van Eck also applied for a Bitcoin ETF just a few months ago already, and right now we can see that the SEC is going to need a little bit more time to think about this decision, so they extended the period to think about the ETF approval or not by 45 days, and right now the June 17th is the most important date probably for Van Eck to see whether this Bitcoin ETF is going to be approved by the SEC or not. Apart from that, we can also see some on-chain metrics from Glassnode as always. We can see that the Ethereum balance on exchanges has reached a 23-month low already of 13.4 million ETH more or less. So that is bullish in general because that means that people are taking Ethereum off the exchanges and they right now are holding that Ethereum likely in cold storage. So that basically means that they are not really intending to trade Ethereum right now on the exchanges, but they are rather holding it for the longer term, hopefully. And just a quick side note, I'm showing all of these fundamentals because even though the majority of this video is focused on technical analysis, it should not be the only thing to rely your decisions on. You should also use your fundamental analysis even in the world of cryptos, not just in the stock market. Okay, so let's now jump into the technical analysis in the chart of Ethereum USD, of course. And as we can see, right now we are on the daily schedule, the daily time frame. So every candlestick is 1 day of price action. Let's first very briefly take a look at the candlesticks. Right now we see a series of doji candlesticks, which means that the candlesticks have very long wicks on the top side and on the lower side, of course, and they have a very small body. And this usually indicates that there is a lot of indecision in the market going on. Apart from that, we are working on a blue sky breakout right now for a couple of weeks already, of course, because we just don't really have any price action in this region because, yeah, when we were back in 2018, 2017, we just didn't have all of this price action at these levels. So that right now means that we are in price discovery and it's a little bit more difficult to determine where the price action is likely to go. Now we are trading very closely to a mental resistance point at $4,000 because these round numbers are usually mental support or mental resistance levels. We can see, for example, that for Ethereum, the $1,000 mark was very important, the $2,000 mark was very important as well, and the $2,500 mark was quite important as well. So let's now see if the $4,000 mark is going to be another significant mental resistance. Then let's also take a look at the 55 exponential moving average on the daily time frame, of course. And let's first of all make it a little bit more clear for you to see. So we're only going to talk about the white line over here. I'm also going to take away the support and resistance levels. And let's also take away the volume for now so you can very briefly or very clearly see what is going on exactly. And as we can see, the 55 EMA, the 55 daily exponential moving average is this white line over here. And right now there's a lot of divergence between the price action where we are right now trading around $4,000 and the 55 EMA, which is trading more or less at $2,600. So there's a lot of divergence going on. And the thing is, if you look at previous times when we had a lot of divergence, we had quite a bit of divergence here as well. The difference between price action and the 55 EMA was quite significant. Then we came back down to that level of the 55 EMA to then continue our way to the upside. We also had some divergence over here, went back to the 55 EMA. We had some divergence over here, back to the 55 EMA. If we scroll in a little bit here, we can see that here we had a lot of divergence too. Here we actually went a little bit sideways to let that 55 EMA catch up with price action. So instead of going down, it just went sideways for a long period of time. Here we can see a lot of divergence going on. Here we also went down to the 55 EMA, and I can show you many more of these examples. So that definitely means that we could in the future see a little bit more of a pullback going on to go back down to that 55 daily exponential moving average. Or we could also see some more consolidation, some more sideways price action to let that 55 EMA catch up with the price action. Then let's also briefly talk about the 8 daily exponential moving average, and let's just get back all of these EMAs for now. So let's get back that, and let's also get back the volume, and let's also get back the support and resistance levels and zoom in a little bit more. So the 8 daily exponential moving average is the yellow line on the screen right now, which is this line over here. And I think that if we are going to see a daily candlestick closure below that 8 daily exponential moving average, that could be the first sign of a pullback or potentially a consolidation period. Now let's also take a look at a few of the indicators. Let's first of all go to the RSI, which always is a quite significant indicator, of course. We do see that we are above the 80 read on the RSI, which usually means that we are very close to being overbought right now, but that doesn't always necessarily lead to a correction. But right now it's definitely something to look at. We can also see that the RSI is still above the exponential moving average on the RSI, which is a good sign. The EMA itself, so which is this white line, by the way, and the RSI is this blue line. So this white line, the EMA on the RSI, is still trending to the upside, so that is also a good sign. But I do think we might be working on bearish divergence, meaning that the price action is making higher highs, whereas the RSI, in this case, the indicator, is making lower highs. And it looks like we are working on a lower high on the RSI right now, so we could see some bearish divergence going on in the future. We can now also take a look at the MACD, of course, which is a little bit similar to the RSI, because the MACD, which is the blue line on the screen right now, this line over here, versus the signal line, which is the orange line over here, we can see that the MACD is still trading below or above, of course, that signal line, and it is going to be a little bit more problematic when the MACD is going to start turning down, and especially when it's going to cross that signal line. So when the blue line, of course, is going to cross the orange line, then the things could be a little bit more annoying. Let's then also take a quick look at the weekly chart of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. We can see that we had a beautiful breakout, of course, of the previous local top back in January of this year, of course. And right now we are surging to the upside, which could even lead to a price action going even higher to this support or this resistance level at a 0.08 for Bitcoin more or less. So that is definitely something to look at. Also, if you pull up the volume profile, by the way, we can see that a lot of price action was consolidating in this region, but right now we don't really have a lot of volume going on right here, so we could definitely continue to be ripping to the upside. So back to the chart of Ethereum versus US dollar, I'm just going to give you my opinion of this chart, which definitely is just my interpretation of technical analysis. It doesn't necessarily mean that your opinion should be exactly the same. So I'm not calling a top just yet, but we might actually be close. In my opinion, I would be looking for two things. I would be looking for either a pullback to the 55 EMA I've been talking about in this video, or look for more or less a sideways price action for like a month or so to let that 55 EMA catch up with price action. Can we go one leg higher on the Ethereum US dollar chart? For sure, I do think so. But in my personal opinion, I do think it would be healthy if we would see a pullback or maybe some consolidation, sideways price action. I'd rather have that than have a move straight towards $5,000, for example. And with regards to like the first signs of a top or a consolidation period, we could be looking maybe at a daily candlestick closure below the 8 daily exponential moving average. We could also be looking at the RSI crossing back below the EMA on the RSI. We could also look at bearish divergence on the RSI, and of course we could look at the MACD crossing below the signal line. And by the way, if you also want to learn how to read charts like me, check out nisami.com/TA, because I recently launched a program about technical analysis for absolute beginners. Okay, so we do see that the fundamentals of Ethereum continue to be strong. We also see that technical analysis is potentially relatively close to topping out, but I do think think, in my opinion, it would be healthy if we would see that pullback back to the 55 EMA or sideways consolidation. Now, I'm very much looking forward to hearing from you as well. What do you think is more likely? Do you think we're going to see a pullback to $3,000, or are we going to continue to go up to $5,000? Let me know in the comments. And with that being said, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!